what are your thoughts on Gen Z? What do they need to be looking out for? What's your advice to them?
Yeah, I think when I look at it, I forget it's actually, I think Gen Alpha is now, I want to say those are teenagers right now.
Okay.
So it's like Gen Alpha, and then Gen Z is sort of above them, maybe 20s. You think that's right?
I think Gen Z is they're entering the workforce and are already in the workforce.
Yeah, man. This is America, and can you do anything you want? Nope. No, you can't do anything you want, but you have a lot of opportunity in this country. I was talking to a kid the other day, and I was just like, man, he's in the fire department. And, like there's a salary cap in the fire department, right? And I said, hey, man, like save your money. Figure out something else you can do. In the fire department, you got time to do other things. What do you do in your spare time? Right there. I already know you're not doing much. So what can you do? And I kind of said, like we're at my gym, and I said, look, you see all this? I go, all this was just like an idea at some point. Just a little tiny idea with no true value whatsoever. Nothing. And here you are in a gym. And that's the same for everything that I have in my life. Everything was just like nothing. But if you apply it and you execute on it, now all of a sudden they start to grow value. And so, it's always surprising to me that the opportunity that we have in this country. So are you going to get it given to you? No. Is it going to take hard work? Yes. Will you have setbacks? Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Like this is what, here's a Gen Alpha term, lore. You heard this? Lore.
No.
So like creating lore. So if you look at when you have problems, those problems are how you create lore about what you did with your life. The kind of thing you can tell your grandkids, the kind of things you can tell your kids. Hey, this is what happened. Oh yeah, I remember when I had my wife and my 4 kids in a 934 square foot house. That's lore, man. My kids are kind of fired up for that. Like there was 2 girls sharing a bedroom. I took the converted garage and split it in half. One for my son and one for my youngest daughter. That's what we're doing. That's cool. At the time, would I have rather had, some mansion? Sure. But that wouldn't have got me no lore. So when you go through challenges, you face things in life, look at it as an opportunity to make some lore for your existence. It's going to be a struggle. But with America, if you work hard, you will be rewarded. And you're going to, look, it's not like a guarantee. But if you work hard, you have to make sure you're playing the right game too. So I had this conversation with a guy, actually 2 guys consecutively a few years ago. And they were both hard workers in 2 totally separate industries. 2 hard workers working very hard and not able to get to where they wanted to go. And they're putting in, 50-hour weeks, 60-hour weeks, 70-hour weeks, like really getting after it. And I said, hey, listen, if that's what's happening, you got to check what game you're playing. Because if you put a lot of effort, the example I used was soccer and basketball. If you put a lot of effort into basketball, how many points can you score in a game? 30, 40, 50? You can get 50 points in one game as an individual player. If you're playing soccer, how many points can you get in a game? Maybe 1 or 2. So if you realize that you're not getting the points that you want to get, you might have to say, I need to get into a different game. So you have to be smart. Hard work isn't rewarded solo. You have to also, detach, look around and say like, okay, is this game that I'm playing the right game to get where I want to go? So you have to keep that in mind too. But this is America. If you play the game and you play the right game and you play it hard, you're going to end up in a good spot, which is all we could ever ask for.
Another great point. Another great point. Last question. If you had 3 guests to recommend for the show, who would they be?
I would say, first I'll give you the easy shot. JP Donnell. Next I'll go Debbie Lee. And then I'll go Johnny Clark,
Johnny Clark.
who was a Marine in Vietnam, and he was a grunt. And you know, our special operations guys get a lot of credit, well deserved. But oftentimes, and I tried to give as much credit as I could today to our conventional Army and Marine Corps brothers and sisters that fought, but they don't often get the credit that they deserve. And Johnny Clark wrote a book called Guns Up when he got back from Vietnam, and he got wounded 3 times. The third time he got wounded, when he finally got pulled out, he had lost like 40 pounds, 35 or 40 pounds, patrolling in the jungle.
Damn.
For 14 days, 17 days, 20 days at a time. And he's an incredible guy. It's a legendary book in the Marine Corps. You know, I got to shout out Guns Up. I did that event for the Marine Corps birthday up in Camp Pendleton. And I was able to get a Guns Up. Semper Fi, happy birthday, Semper Fi, Guns Up. But Johnny Clark, just an amazing guy, and has had a really incredible voyage in his life that I think everyone would be blessed to be able to hear his story. And I think that it would give a lot of people credit. You know, I had the honor of bringing a lot of the SOG guys into the forefront for the things that they did in Vietnam. And most certainly, you know, the most epic guys. But I always want to remember these grunts, the infantrymen.
Thank you for saying that. And by the way, you did a fantastic job of giving those guys credit. I talk about the exact same thing on here a lot, about those guys never get the credit they deserve. You talk a lot about special operations, nonprofits, and it's like, yeah, great, we got another one. We don't fucking need any more. These guys need them.
Yep.
You know, and so it's pretty fucking cool you're doing that, and that actually is a segment that I planned on covering, but it slipped my mind, is the SOG guys. I mean, I started interviewing this year couple of Vietnam guys, and got inspired from what you and John Strykermeyer are doing over there, and you know, and for me, I mean, those guys, that is the generation that motivated me, that made me want to serve the country, go to war, and ultimately, you know, become a SEAL. And man, those guys are fucking something, aren't they?
Yeah, as I've told John Strykermeyer, and I've told the rest of them, like, as a task unit commander, I wouldn't have approved any of those missions. I was like, yo, you're going out where? Wait, across enemy lines, you got 3 Americans and 4 Vietnamese, and you're going out there into wherever with no ground support. You sure about that? But those guys were in a different breed.
Yeah, they are.
God bless them all, man. They were just epic.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.